Hello students, welcome to MBA 360. Today I'm going to talk about one of the key aspects that you should be looking at when you're actually choosing a B school. A lot of B schools will have a ranking and students keep asking us whether they should trust a ranking or anything else. And if at all they have to trust a ranking, which ranking should they trust on? There is a Government of India ranking which is NIRF. There are international rankings which are QS and THE. And there are of course some of the publication rankings like Career 360 ourselves. But between all these things, there is something that students miss out, which is the accreditation that is very, very important for some of the B schools. And accreditation would ensure that there is some kind of a sanity in terms of the quality, the processes, the outcomes, the faculty, the research, all these things is something that accreditation works on. And one of them, of course, is MBA accreditation, which is again from the Government of India. But one very important accreditation that is international in its nature is the Association to Advanced Collegiate Schools of Business, which is called AACSB ranking. By the way, the three international ratings that you have, AACSB, 2 is AMBA, and 3 is EQUAS. And when all the three are there, then institutions are called triple crown institutions. Why do I say accreditation is very important? And let's talk of AACSB accreditation at this point in time, because many B schools in India are AACSB accredited. About 27 or 28 of them are AACSB accredited. When you look at that data, you'll understand that it is very good, or rather very difficult for a bad B school to get an AACSB accreditation. Not all good B schools are AACSB accredited. They might not prefer that, right? But it's very difficult for a bad B school to be AACSB accredited. And that is where the quality benchmark comes in. Like for example, you might not have an IIM Ahmedabad going for AACSB accreditation, but it is very difficult for a very, very bad school to actually get AACSB accreditation. Why is it that it's important for you to understand, understand whether the institution has an accreditation and what does it mean for you is what I'm going to explain today. Before I move any further, please subscribe to MBA 360 if you've not already done that, and then I'll start talking about what the accreditation would always mean. Now, AACSB is one of the oldest institutions that you have in terms of accreditation bodies that you have in the world. It's international in nature. It's based in Tampa, Florida. It was started in 1916, and the first B school that got an AACSB accreditation is in 1919. So what we're talking about is more than 100 years old legacy of how they went about judging an institution and deciding whether they're good or bad or ugly. And when you look at all the accreditation that you have, only 6% of the B schools in the world are AACSB accredited. In fact, in India, you have 5,000 plus B schools, but only 27, 28 of them are AACSB accredited. I'm not saying again, I repeat, I'm not saying that every good B school is AACSB accredited, but I can guarantee you one thing, that the B school is not good enough, it cannot get AACSB accreditation. That is for sure a filter. Now, what does it all mean? It's one of the oldest, as I said, it's established in 1916, first B school that got it is in 1919. And typically, the curriculum, they always look at the curriculum and whether it meets the rigorous academic and industry standards that AACSB is set for itself. What it means is that the curriculum is continuously revised and looked at to understand whether it's relevant to the current age so that the students can actually benefit from that. They also look at the faculty and the quality of faculty and ensure that they're actively involved in research. Then they look at the teaching and how the teaching is happening and also keep reviewing it against international benchmarks to ensure that the student benefits out of the whole thing. Simply put, AACSB signals world-class academic credibility. Now, the second thing that you must look at is, as I said, one is the academic side of it, which is research, curriculum, teaching, and all those things, which AACSB keeps looking at. The second thing that it looks at is the employer side of it. Most employers trust in AACSB accredited institution. And the reason is simple, because they know that the minimum benchmarks that they want, the minimum quality standards that they want are being looked at by an independent accreditation body. And in this case, it's AACSB. So employers, especially multinational companies, by the way, recognize AACSB accreditation as a mark of quality. And there are better placement opportunities, especially in MNCs, because most of these MNCs also trust AACSB because it's an international accreditation in a sense, right? And it often offers very strong industry connections, because when AACSB has its annual get-together or gathering in one of these countries, and they do it across the world many a time, most of the employers also come in, most of the B schools also come in. The international collaboration between companies, between institutions, and the equivalence of standards and learning from each other happens very, very well when you're actually a part of an international accreditation, which is what AACSB is about. So many global recruiters prefer to prioritize graduates from AACSB accredited institutions as compared to any other institution. And the third thing is a long-term value and institutional strength. AACSB accreditation is not permanent. It requires continuous, which means that it's not that once you get it, you're done with it. You actually have to move on to the next level because you need to continuously keep improving your processes and stay relevant so that you actually get some benefit out of the whole thing. Which means that you cannot get that once and then rest on the laurel for your rest of your time. It is continuous in its nature, because of which the relevance, the real-time updation of content, curriculum, research, pedagogy, all these things are continuous in a certain sense. In the process, they learn from global benchmarks that they set for themselves, or global learnings that they set from other B schools which are AACSB accredited. And the school, because of this, keeps its curriculum relevant to industry needs. The faculty stays very, very updated, and current business practices are always taught. And most importantly, this protects students from joining weak or outdated programs, because some of the B schools, as I keep saying, might be living on the legacy, but the program might be outdated, or they might be weak. The program itself is. AACSB ensures that you actually are protector of that. And lastly, and most importantly, when you deal with multiple bunch of AACSB accredited institutions, the faculty exchange programs, the student exchange programs, all that become very, very relevant and much easier, because it's easy for a institution which is in USA or UK, which is AACSB accredited, to partner with an AACSB accredited institution in India, because the global standards are almost similar. There is some kind of a parity and there is some kind of learning from each other. So you actually have greater partnerships and greater collaborations that are possible in terms of exchange program that you have. Because of this, while we're talking of rankings, while we're talking of NRF ranking, the international rankings or publication rankings like Career 360 and all the website rankings that we do, it's very important for you to understand whether the institution is AACSB accredited. It at least ensures that you're not joining a weak or a bad institution or a weak or a bad program. And that is my first thing that I would want to work on. I'll also show you in North India what are the institutions that actually are AACSB accredited that you can be looking at, or it's a safe bet for you in terms of its research, pedagogy, curriculum, student outcomes, exchange programs, and employer opportunities. I'll explain to you those institutions now. But the first thing that I wanted to explain to you is why AACSB accreditation is very important and can be a good filter for you to weed out bad institutions in a certain sense. Now let me show you what are the top MBA colleges in North India. At this point in time, what I'm talking of is only in North India. What are the institutions which actually have got AACSB accreditation, right? As I told you, world over, only 6% institutions, B schools, are AACSB accredited. In India, about 27 or 28, last count I think is 28, are AACSB accredited. Of which we're talking of those in North India, so that you can decide based on your own choices what are the ones that you might want to select, or where you feel comfortable. Okay, this is accredited, so let me actually apply here. So I'm talking about those institutions, right? The first one, of course, is IIM Lucknow, right? Now the question will come back is, are the IIMs not accredited? They've not applied for accreditation. It doesn't mean that they're bad. All I'm saying is, an accreditation means that the ones that are accredited are not bad institutions. There might be some very good institutions that are not accredited. That's an independent conversation that we can deal with, right? But these are the, one is IIM Lucknow, established in 1984. It's a public institution, all of you know that. It's 5th best in terms of NRF ranking. Total students is 1,215, of which boys are 70% and girls are 30%. So it's a very good gender ratio that you can deal with. Gender diversity is very, very good. The PGP fee is 20.75 lakh rupees. And the placement is 100% at 30 lakh rupees, right? So of course it's an IIM, and it's one of the top 5 IIMs is what everyone knows about. So this is one of them that you should be looking at. The second one is MDI Gurgaon. Again, if you look at it, it's 9th best in NRF ranking. But if you look at private institutions, this should be 2nd or 3rd best in India. If you remove the IIMs, you'll be 2nd or 3rd best in India as I see it, right? And it's been there for a long, long time. It's been there for 53 years. Right? When you deal with that 53 years, it means that about 50-51 batches are out there in the market, grown up the corporate ladder. So you'll actually find an MDI alumni in most of the big companies, because it's been there for a long time and has so many batches have passed out. And these people would have joined there and at a lower level, but moved up the ladder to actually occupy the corner office also, which is the CEO's office or the head of marketing or head of business or head of finance and those kind of things. And whenever you have such legacy, trust me, your placements are better, because your alumni would be sitting in so many companies that they will always reach out to the alma mater and try to recruit from there, which is what benefits when you actually have a legacy institution like MDI. Now, here they have about 1,137 students, of which 65% are boys and 35% are girls. The fees is 27 lakh rupees, 26.55 lakh rupees. The placement is 98.31%, the last data that we have, 98.31% placement at a median salary of 26.13 lakh. right? So again, one of the better B schools, I don't need to sell this to you or even talk about this to you. It should be an automatic choice for you when you're trying to get into any of the good B schools in the country. But of course, the cutoffs here, both for IIM Lucknow and MDI, are extremely tight. So you must be careful about that, in the sense that it's not easy to get into these kind of institutions. The third one is FIIB, which is based again in Delhi. It's based in South Delhi. This was established in 1995, so 31 years of legacy. It's 31 years. Now, whenever, again, I said, when you actually have such a long journey, you would actually have your alumni in most places, and that's what would benefit in terms of placement for people who are joining in now. So from there, again, FIIB will benefit because 31 years, which means that about 29, 30 batches are out there in the market, have grown up the corporate ladder, would be occupying different positions in Delhi NCR or beyond that also. And they will be sitting in very powerful positions at this point in time. And which, obviously, this institution also will reach out to them for placement purposes. And those students, if they're grateful to the institution, will also reach out to FIIB. So this will always benefit them. Of course, it's a private institution. We rated it as AAA+. The students are 57% boys and 43% girls. And the placement percentage here is 96% for the 23-25 batch, right? The fee is 12.85 lakh rupees. So it's about half of what you're dealing with there, right? 12.85 lakh is the thing. You ignore the highest package for a moment, which is 25 lakh rupees. When you look at the average package of the top 20%, it's 12 lakh rupees, right? And that is what will work for you, in the sense that you actually are dealing with an institution which is able to recover. If you look back at the big institutions and this one also, you'll see one thing common, which is that the fee that they charge and the kind of placement average salary that they give, there is some kind of a 1 to 1.5 year kind of a payback period. So if the fee is 30 lakh rupees, or rather 20 lakh rupees, you might have a fee of 30 lakh rupees at the most. And that is 1.5 years. So 20 lakh by 30 is about 1.5 year kind of a thing. So that's what it's going to work out, which is what I think FIIB also will largely deal with, because at a fee of 12.85 lakh rupees and with a top 20% dealing 12 lakh rupees, they should be having an average median salary of about 9 lakh rupees plus kind of a thing, which will again, 1 year, 3 months, 1 year, 4 months, you'll be able to pay back the fee that you paid, which is what, by the way, most B schools work on as a mathematical formula, that the fee that they charge and the kind of placement they look, there is some kind of a correlation that they keep looking at, so that it doesn't extend where, you're placing students at 4 lakh rupees and the fee is 40 lakh rupees. It never happens. There is some kind of a parity or some kind of an equation that good B schools practice. Bad B schools do not practice any of these things. In fact, they don't have any practice. They just try to squeeze you out. Just be very careful about that. So that is FIIB for you. The next one is Jindal Global Business School, Sonipat in Haryana. This is a part of the OP Jindal Global University, which is an institution of eminence. When you say, it means that it's one of those 4-5 college universities in the country, which the government of India feels would be part of the best in the world at some point in time. So they've got greater autonomy. Now, Jindal University, of course, is known for its law courses, but they also have a business school and they're offering very good courses. And this is AACSB accredited. It is in Sonipat in Haryana, but it's very close to Delhi. This was established in 2010 as a university. It's a private, of course. It's owned by the Jindal group people, Naveen Jindal. Our own rating is about AAA+, which is very good. The fee here is 14 lakh rupees. The admission in this school is based on CAT, MAT, XAT, CMAT, ATMA. So they essentially want some kind of a score that you have so that they can actually scrutinize you. And of course, the percentile of GRE, GMAT and NMAT. There are also merit-based scholarships in this university. And the B school here is pretty large, so that's the reason why they actually have 170 plus. In fact, what I know of the last number that I was speaking to the dean of the business school is that they have 200 plus faculty members only in the thing, and most of them PhD scholars, mind you. So which means that the B school really works hard on getting the best faculty possible. And of course, it's got the financial muscle, remember that. So, it does get the best faculty possible. And they have about 200 plus faculty members only for the business school at this point in time. And it's some of its best, because it's getting the PhD scholars, you also have very good research output also in this whole thing, right? So Jindal Global Business School, as I said, is another AACSB accredited institution if you're looking for a B school, because it's passed the test of scrutiny, public transparency, vetting their process and those kind of things. So it's one more B school that you should be looking at. The next one is XLRI Jamshedpur. Now, the reason why this is here is because they also have a Delhi campus, and that's why we are mentioning that here. This was established in 1949. 1949. So obviously, we're dealing with about 77 years of legacy. It's one of the best B schools that you have in the country. One of the oldest B schools, formed by the Xavier Institute. And Xavier Institute has about 9-10 institutions across the country. And this being XLRI being one of them, and of course within that there's also a Delhi campus that we're talking about, right? It's of course private, 10th best in India in terms of the NIRF ranking, which is Government of India ranking. This total students is 800. Now, by the way, this data is not of Delhi only. Just be very careful about that. This we're talking of XLRI Jamshedpur. 480 students which are boys and 316 girls. So you actually have a very, very good ratio of about 40% being girls and 60% being boys. And by the way, they actually have one of the best HR MBA programs is in XLRI. So just look at it from that perspective. The PGDM fee is 26 lakh rupees, close to 26 lakh rupees. The placement is 99% or close to 100% at 28 lakh rupees. So again, we deal with it about 1 year kind of a thing is what you're dealing with. The next one is IIFT Delhi. Now this comes under the Ministry of Commerce, Government of India. It was initially started to help India deal with the foreign exchange and find real manpower to deal with our import and export and those kind of things. And that's why it comes under the Ministry of Commerce. The Ministry of Commerce funded this institution. Now it's become an autonomous institution, a deemed university. Right? Now it's a public institution founded in 1963. So we're dealing with about 63 years of legacy. 17th best B school in the country. In my opinion, it deserves far better. It should be between 10 and 12, my opinion. It's a far better institution than what the ranking signifies here. Right? The total number of students is 834, of which 575 are male and 259 are girls. So essentially, what we're dealing with about 30% being girls and 70% being boys. The fee is they have multiple programs, which is where the range is there, 17.87 lakh to 21.82 lakh, because there are 2-3 programs, one of business analytics and something else. So that is the kind of fee that you're dealing with, and the placement is 100%, and the median salary is 25 lakh rupees. And it's been consistent in terms of the placement has been 100% for a long time. And the median salary also has been pretty consistent. What we're talking, remember, we're talking of AACSB accredited institutions in north of India, especially Delhi NCR is what it will largely take, because Lucknow and all, there are very few of them. But what we're talking of is AACSB accredited institutions and what it means to you of why you must filter out or make that one of the choices for you to select a B school, right? The next one is IIM Udaipur in Rajasthan, 2011, 21st B school, public institution, 676 students, 70% being boys, 31% being girls. The fee is 21.33 lakh and 100% placement at 18 lakh rupees. Right, so that is IIM Udaipur for you. It's a young B school, so obviously you can see the kind of weakness in terms of everything, but that's what it is, right? Now the next one is IMT Ghaziabad. This is a very good one. Again, it's an old one, right? It's about 46 years old. Right, it's a private B school. It's actually owned by the former Commerce Minister called Mr. Kamal Nath. They've got 4 campuses, Ghaziabad being the first campus that they started with. Then they started Hyderabad, Nagpur, and now they also have one in Dubai. Right, so it's been well spread out in a certain sense, and obviously they could expand because it's been a good B school and it could deliver well, so they could expand the campuses and find students, right? Now, NRF ranking is 30th best B school in the country, 1,290 students, of which 978 are boys and 312 are girls, so we're dealing with about 27-28% being girls. The fee is 23 lakh rupees. The median salary is 15.86 lakh rupees, 96% placement. So when you deal with again 16 by 23, you'll realize that the payback period is about 1.5 years if you look at it from that perspective. Then you have IMI Delhi. This is owned by the Goenkas, the same people who own Lucknow Super Giants for those who are interested in cricket. Now they also have many other companies. They're largely East-based as a group, but they have their assets all over the country at this point in time and maybe all over the world also. This was established in 1981. Now, IMI Delhi is the first B school that the Goenkas got into, but later they expanded to Bhubaneswar and Calcutta also. They also have 2 more autonomous independent institutions. They're not branches, they're autonomous and independent institutions. Established in 1981, as I said, 45 years. Right, and one of the best B schools in Delhi that you have. It's a private B school, 40th best B school. In my opinion, this deserves to be better. It should be not more than 25-30. So these are the kind of ranking I would give to an IMI Delhi. Students are 826, 50% being boys, 50% being girls. This is very, very unique in the sense that, typically these very, very few B schools where the girl versus and boy ratio is almost similar. In fact, one of the IIMs has 60% girls and 40% boys also. Now, right, but in this case, I'm glad that the diversity ratio is so good. And typically this happens when certain other programs are there, and this IMI Delhi has certain programs where a lot more girls would prefer it as compared to the boys. Right. The fee is 23.54 lakh rupees, 99 or close to 100% placement at 16.6. Again, you look at this, 1.5 year is the equation that you get in terms of payback period, because you're dealing with 16.5 lakh rupees salary and 24 lakh rupees being the fees. So you're essentially dealing with a 1.5 year kind of a payback period. The next one you have is LM Thapar School of Management, which is in Chandigarh. This is a part of the Thapar University, which is based in Punjab. But this one is not based in the mother campus. It's a separate campus that's there in the state of Punjab, of course, but not in the mother campus. And I think it's a good thing, because they wanted to ensure that there's a unique identity for a B school, and that's why they created this as LM Thapar School of Management in Chandigarh. It's established in 2007. The B school part of it, the LM Thapar University is very, very old, remember that. And it's private, 46th best B school in the country. 406 students, of which 50% are boys and 50% are girls. Again, very, very good ratio. The fee is 15 lakh rupees. The placement is 83.67%, and the median salary is 7.86 lakhs. So again, here it's almost 2x kind of a thing in terms of what the MBA fees is versus what the median salary is, and the fact that they were only placing about 83% students, which means that there is an issue. But having said that, this is AACSB accredited, which means the data and everything that you're dealing with is slightly more authentic, more true, and to that extent very real also. So you should look at that as one of the options, because it's out there, right? So as I said, and the next one is BIMTECH in Noida, Greater Noida. This was established in 1988, so we're dealing with about 44 years, right? It's private in nature, 61st best B school in the country, 941 students, of which 60% are boys and 40% are girls. 14 lakh rupees being the median fees, and the median salary is 10.5 lakh rupees, 100% placement. So again, the same thing that, it's one of the B schools that is real, authentic, delivers well, has good number of students, and has been doing it for the last 40-45 years. So you can actually trust it. See, many of these things, it's a choice that you have based on your score, merit, rank, fee that you can pay, and all those things. There is nothing good or bad about it. Now, you don't judge, compare an IIM Ahmedabad with this and suddenly say what happens here. No, it's not. You actually have a bunch of B schools which are real, authentic, have been working in the space for a long, long time, and have been delivering consistent outcomes. Right? Now, you might be a 70-80 percentile, some B school would be preferred for you. If you're a 95 percentile, some B school is preferred for you. So there is no judgment about the whole thing. It depends on what we're trying to list out are those B schools which are real, which are accredited, which are transparent, which work on outcomes, which work on curriculum, pedagogy, industrial relationships, academic relationships, and those kind of things, which is where this entire list comes out. What listing out are those B schools which are AACSB accredited, which means that they pass a minimum filter, minimum benchmark for you to make that a choice, of course, based on your merit score, affordability, and those kind of things. The next one and the last one is Jaipuria Institute of Management in Lucknow, established in 1995, a private 67B school, 720 students, 52% being boys, 47% being girls, 15.25 lakh rupees thing, and the 97% placement, 8.79 lakh rupees as the thing. In fact, they actually have 4 branches. One of them is also in Delhi. So you have Delhi, Lucknow, Jaipur, and one more if I'm not wrong. And the important thing is that one of them I think is AACSB accredited. That's why we added this into the list. And this is the kind of placement that they're dealing with, about 97% placement at 8.7 lakh. The fee is 15 lakh rupees. So it's actually 2 times is what the thing is. Again, I'm saying what we put out is a list of B schools that have become transparent or are rather transparent, are AACSB accredited, and which might be a part of your consideration set depending on what you are in terms of the score, affordability, merit, and those kind of things. That's the entire endeavor and nothing more. I just hope this part of it helps you to decide what is the right B school for you. And I hope that we have actually catered to those students who might not be the best students in the country in terms of getting the 99 percentile, 98 percentile, but also cater to or inform those who are getting the 70, 80 percentiles, but still deserve a chance of wanting to get into a decent B school and making a career for themselves. That's the entire endeavor. I hope this helps. Thank you so much. Namaste.